Welcome to another edition of the Dragonproof e-commerce podcast. I am Richard Otey. I am here with Rick Wilson.
Hello, everybody.
And Rick Arnoldo.
Hi, everyone.
It's the Rick Show today. And Rick, our guest, is an owner of Wingstuff.com. The owner of Wingstuff.com. And it's a parts, accessories, and clothing company for Honda Goldwing riders.
That's correct.
And it's funny because as we were talking prior to the show starting, I thought to myself, wow, you're going to get to know how such a highly potentially commoditized product is actually a flourishing business for Rick, because his gregariousness and his kind of just his energy overall, you're going to see how he's kind of naturally dragon-proof, and we're going to see how we can draw out some elements from him on how you can learn from what he's done to build such a successful company, and how you can apply that to your business. Rick, any particular you want to get started with the questions? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the reason we were looking to invite Rick to be our first official guest on episode 1, we called episode 0 last time because we didn't have a guest, was because not only had he been in the world of e-commerce for so long, he had a natural inclination for dragon proofing on every level, regardless of the dragon. So I think I kind of want to start with, like, how did you build your business, and what were you doing? You know, what made you build it the way you did?
Funny you say that, because as the world changes as years go on, I didn't know any other way to do business. I came out of a Honda motorcycle dealership that I started working for when I was 16 years old.
Right.
And I bought my first dirt bike from them when I was 14 years old. And I was lucky enough to get a job at the Honda shop that I bought my bike from. And the people that I worked for, it was a family-owned dealership, which was wonderful because their philosophy was, you know, having rides, and it was all about the customer's experience. We had donuts every morning with coffee. That was all free. We had people coming just to hang out. We became a destination store.
Right.
And we realized that, you know, and back then, selling things wasn't enough.
Sure.
It wasn't enough. And it's the only way that I knew how to do business. And here we are in the modern age, and I realized that we're a good definition of dragging proof, and we didn't even know it.
I mean, would you agree that selling things is not enough today either?
Absolutely not.
Right.
When I started this website, the first thing I said was selling things it's not good enough. I can't just sell things. It's not enough.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like to ask people when I'm talking to them is,
there's too much passion.
Why would someone buy from you? And I feel like your answer to that question is a good answer.
There's a lot of reasons to buy from us.
Right. Yeah. As opposed to some random online parts store where you don't know nobody.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Selling things isn't good enough. And it seemed like a lot of our competitors online, that's all they did. And although we were selling things, we do so much more than that. The shopping experience with us goes in every direction.
So what are the other things you do other than sell things? I mean, it's a website, so it feels like it's about selling things. But what
There's
else do you
so
do?
much information. First of all, we have community. I mean, we have currently about 136,000 active members on our website, and that's since 1999 when I started the website.
That's impressive in and of itself. And then how do you get them to interact? Like, what are the tools to make that community function?
We have a community where people they do reviews, and the neat thing is you can browse profiles, you can see all the reviews a person made. If they made any comments on our blogs, you can see those. Okay. They have a photo gallery that they can put all the pictures that they want of their bikes and the accessories and things like that. So it's almost like a social media community built into the site, that this was even before Facebook even existed.
Kind of like almost your own private Reddit for
in a way, yeah,
people.
In a sense, yeah. It's like everybody has a home there, and that's what it is. Sure, they buy all their things on our website, but the guys on our phones hold hands, they give suggestions, people call, they're needy. And the shopping experience, if we just sold things and that's all we did, that's not the kind of shopping experience I want to give people.
Do you have any idea what percentage of time people spend on your site doing community things versus shopping things?
I'm going to guess probably anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes.
Okay, so that's a lot of time.
Sure, they spend a lot of time on our site. And the analytics show that people go on the site and they spend actually a lot longer than that, just looking at things, looking at reviews. I mean, I think we have more reviews than anyone out there on the products that we sell. And they're all uncensored reviews. Mm-hmm. If somebody doesn't like something, it stays up. The only way I'll not put something up if there's vulgarity or something like that, or they're personally attacking somebody, but it doesn't happen that often. And, my manufacturers that we deal with, they learn from our website, not only consumers. The manufacturers hit our sites every day, trying to see what people like, what they don't like, and it helps them design products, fix products.
Right.
We find out if there's problems with products before the manufacturers do, because our customers tell us.
Yeah, you're kind of the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
What do you see as your first steps for building that community, right? Because it can be a generic phrase, right? People use that phrase all the time. What do you recommend?
Well,
Is it just
to answer
nice,
that, first of all, you have to have the right product that you're selling, okay? If I was, I'm sure it's somebody's passion if you're selling soap, but we're selling Honda motorcycle accessories for Goldwings, and people are so passionate about that bike. And generally, it's couples, it's husband and wife that ride those bikes, and this is something that they really love to do. And so we're the destination, we're the place that not only they can buy things, but they can get information, they can see what other people are buying, they can browse profiles, and they can look at wish lists to get an idea of what people want to buy. They can look at reviews, they can see things, maybe they wanted to buy this product, but there's some consistency after reading through the reviews that there's something that people don't like about this. Well, you're going to find out on my site. And so
how did you prime that though? How did you get
your community? You seed it?
Yeah, how did you seed it to get it? Because there's a lot of people that have reviews on their site.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that.
Well, the whole way we did business, we were very well known because we were doing all the rallies across the country.
Okay,
we were advertising.
For a long time.
We were advertising in the publications that were directed at our demographics, at our customers. We didn't waste our time advertising in a magazine for sport motorcycles, So, you want to get to those people. And it was always about community. It was always about information. We just enjoy what we do. We love what we do. The people that I surround myself with in my company that take a lot of the phone calls, they love what they do. They have a passion for this stuff too. Mm-hmm. So we enjoy what we do and we like helping people. So when people call, it's just easy for us.
And I think that naturally leads to a question I want to ask, how do you hire? How do you find people who have that passion?
Okay. Attitude over aptitude. I know you've probably heard that before. The best employees I have didn't have the most experience. That's not what I look for. It's always nice to have personality. Absolutely number one. If you're friendly and you like helping people, you might want to work for Wing Stuff. If you're grumpy and you don't, you have a short fuse, not to say this not something else out there that you want to do, it's not a good fit.
Right.
And over the years, we've had employees that we thought were the right fit, and they know as well as it's not the right fit.
Right.
And, and I can't do that not only to my customers, but even to my fellow employees and their fellow coworkers. Everybody's on the same page. So it's compatibility and it's attitude. Mm-hmm. Number one. And if you get that person, they can learn everything else.
It's interesting as you were talking there, and I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but I started to think out about how many businesses get worried about niching their market down too small.
Sure.
And there's way more than just one Honda, right?
Absolutely.
And this is probably their flagship one.
Sure.
But there's a lot of Honda parts. There's a lot of Honda cars. There's all kinds of things. And yet you specifically niche down to this one. But that in and of itself probably helped define that community.
Absolutely. If we sold not only Goldwing accessories, but we sold other Honda motorcycle accessories, it would dilute what I'm trying to do.
Right.
We have a true passion for a particular bike that I've had a passion for since 1976 when I started in this business. Mm-hmm. I was 16 years old when I got that job at the Honda shop. And that's the second year the Goldwing was out. It came out in 1975. Mm-hmm. And our particular dealership specialized in the Goldwing. We did three things. We specialized in Honda Goldwings and dressing them out, which people do. Basically, I'll say a Christmas tree, but lights and chrome and this guy has more chrome than this guy. It's really funny. But we also we built engines for road racers. My boss at the time, Jeff, was one of the best engine builders in the United States for motorcycle engines, and he would port and polish, and he would build all the engines for all these racers. And then here we are dressing bikes for Goldwing riders so that them and their wives can go out with clubs and have a good time. So we did both. And we were actually a franchise Lamborghini dealer, to throw that in. So add a little excitement to that. Yes, we were.
I definitely didn't know that. That's interesting.
Because my boss was so into engines, and he was the service manager at this Honda shop back when it was started in the 60s. And then the owner retired because he was getting up there in his years. And my boss bought the dealership with family money. His mom helped him out. His dad had passed away, and they ran the dealership. And his mom is the one that hired me.
Was it in the same location?
Yeah.
So Lambos and Gold.
Lamborghinis. And then we had to build an addition because we had to have a separate showroom. But pretty exciting place. And you want to talk about selling more motorcycles. Everybody would go there to see the cars. And then before you know it, they're sitting down buying a dirt bike or a street bike. It was really fascinating. And it was never duplicated ever.
Yeah, that kind of fits an old adage in marketing about sex selling.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, every rep wanted to come visit us, whether it was from Honda. We had Japanese from Japan that worked for Honda. Everybody wanted to come because they wanted to go check out those Lamborghinis. So that was exciting.
Well, it also just shows how passion is contagious.
Exactly.
It kind of goes back to your comment about hiring.
Play, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it started with this passion for this specific motorcycle.
Yep.
And I'm sure that every one of your hires didn't necessarily have that exact same passion for that motorcycle as you did, but you knew passion was a key ingredient. And so whether it was hiring someone else that was good at a particular trait, you knew you wanted to make that be the culture of the company.
I was really lucky that I worked for people like this because they taught me a lot. I think you have to be the kind of person that fits into that, though. I was always the kind of person, I like people, I enjoy helping people, and I wanted to resonate that into my job at the shop, and that's what they did. So I fell in perfectly. We had a lot of people that got hired that never lasted.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question about that, because when we built Miva, that was one of the things that was almost the exact same hiring philosophy.
Yeah.
Like I was always big in the right personality, and we have a no assholes rule we hold tightly to this day. But what I found over time was, in the beginning, it was harder to pick those people. And then as you get more and more of them, they refer more and more of them. But did you have a similar experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And we tried to do such a good job at like feeling that personality. Like, is this the right person? And we were pretty good at it. But every once in a while, somebody was a great actor, And so it's like after a few days or a few weeks, you can't cover it up for too long, right? You have to have patience. You need to want to help people. You need to want to help the guy next to you. That's the operation that we have. We have a vibe and an environment in our company where everybody tries to help each other. And when the people call on the phone, they're not bothering us. We love to talk to them. And a matter of fact, when I'm in my office and I listen to the guys taking calls, it's like, hey, Joe from Texas is on line 2. Right. I mean, my guys have their individual little fan clubs, and we don't turn people over that much because I try to create an environment where we all like what we do and we help each other, and so my guys like coming to work, and I say that because I truly believe that that's true. And if you enjoy what you do and you enjoy getting up and doing something, you're going to do it better, and you're going to be happy. The happiest people that are working, that are helping your customers, if they're happy, your customers are going to feel that, and so that's a big thing. So the people that work for our company, I think, are my biggest asset, because it's not just about me anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always had the theory that we spend more time at work than we do even with our family for the most part. So why would you want to work in a crappy place?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And who interfaces with my customers? In the early days, it used to be only me.
Right.
That was in the very early days. And then, after a while, it's like, it's the people around me that are interfacing with those customers. So it was really important to get the right personalities, and don't fake it. Like I said, if you're friendly and you like helping people, you might want to work for us, And hopefully you like Goldwings and you like motorcycles.
So question for you on the Goldwing. So what generation are we on now?
Oh, this new bike is, Honda hit it out of the park with this new bike.
But how many have there been since you started?
Models?
Yeah.
Okay. In 1975, it was the GL1000. The GL1000 went from 1975 to 1979. In 1980, they came out with the 1100, and it was more towards the bike that you're seeing today. It had the big fairing and the saddlebags. The 1000 was skinnied up. It's almost like a strip model. But in those days, I looked at it, and that's a year before I went to work for the Honda dealership. It looked gigantic. I mean, it was huge. And I'm like, how did somebody ride that? That bike looks so small now. It's amazing. It's tiny. So yeah, so in 1980 they came out with the one with the big fairing, the saddlebags, and boy, did this bike take off. I mean, before you know it, you got clubs all around the world, and husband and wife. That's the demographics that are riding these bikes. It's your mom and dad, it's your grandfather and your grandma, and then let's go a little further. In 1984 they came out with the GL 1200. Okay. They got that 1100 and they made it even better. And, everything state of the art, like stereo and cassette player and CB and talking to other riders, and then move forward. And from the 1200, they went to the 1500 in 1988. So in 1988, they went to the GL 1500. Now that's a big jump because now the motor, this is a big engine. The saddlebags are bigger. The whole bike starts getting bigger, but it handled incredibly. The center of gravity is so low on this motorcycle that you can get on it and straddle it. And, it doesn't even feel heavy. So it's amazing how great this bike is. So with that said, I'm proud to say, not only do I love Honda Goldwings, but it is the best handling motorcycle of its type in the world. And it's just a pleasure to ride. And if you were going to go cross country, trust me, you'd want to take a Goldwing instead of your car. It's just amazing. And then in 2001, they came out with the GL 1800 aluminum frame.
And that was a pretty big gap because 88 was the previous one.
Right. So these bikes are so great that they don't change them that often, right? And it's expensive to make a change like that. I truly know that when Honda does this kind of stuff, it takes them years to be profitable because they spend so much money, building these bikes and develop them in R&D and everything. So, but that bike was so much lighter, and now that bike you could do circles around the 1500 as far as handling because they made it even lighter. The braking was better, the suspension was better. The one thing I can say about all the manufacturers and Honda especially is every time they make a model change like that, the bike handles better, brakes better, everything gets better. And it tends to, just technology wise, it just gets better. And so now in 2018, I am so excited about this new bike. It's 100 pounds lighter. Fuel mileage is far higher than the previous model, and the previous model got good fuel mileage. This bike now is not only the best touring motorcycle on the planet, but it's also a sport touring bike. So what's happening, what I'm seeing, we're getting younger demographics coming in, which is changing things up. And it's exciting to me because now it's widened the whole market and there's more people riding Goldwings. And it's great. So I'm seeing it change. So before it was like ages 40 to 75. Now I'm seeing ages 30 to 75. And I even saw some other people without the trunk. You can buy the bike without the trunk. That bike looks pretty sporty. It looks like a nice little hot rod, but it's stealthy, beautiful looking bike, sexy looking. So it's turning on the younger guys.
Which is critical for the future.
Which is critical.
So in some senses, Honda is a kind of a dragon for you. They don't compete with you, but they control your destiny at some level.
Sure they do, because we revolve our business around their model bike, sure.
Absolutely. So how do you manage those cycles?
I never worried about that because that is the flagship motorcycle for that company, for Honda. I don't think that Goldwing will ever go away because it's a flagship bike. And it's certainly, I will say, out of all the Japanese companies, Honda is the only company that's from Japan that has created close to what Harley Davidson has done with the lifestyle that they've achieved with their riders. There's no other Japanese company in any model bike ever made that has clubs all over the world to the degree of the Goldwing, and just the following is just amazing. It's a lifestyle. Yeah. That's pretty impressive. And it falls right in line on how I like to do business. So I fit right into this perfectly. So it was like the perfect storm for me. Right. I'm fortunate about that.
I just wanted to go back real quick to what Rick was talking about there. And Honda is a bit of a dragon in your world,
sure,
but it can kind of be a chicken and an egg scenario. There's a lot in that relationship where they can learn from you, sure, because
absolutely,
I'd imagine somebody is probably keeping an eye on your community and what's going on.
Everybody does.
Because they're not just making new designs for no reason.
And why wouldn't you?
Right.
Most all the manufacturers that we sell products for, they're on our site all the time. I know the OEM companies are on our site, it's an information destination. It's great. That's what we do. So they might not be, well, some of them buy things, to be quite honest. We have a lot of dealers. That might be something that you don't realize. We have a lot of dealers that buy from us because we're a specialty place.
Well, and having information on your site, it's kind of what you're talking about earlier. It's more than selling things.
Absolutely.
What was the thing you were telling us about? I think it's called Rick's Ride. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so we really enjoy doing videos, and it's something that me and my guys love to do, and we've kind of evolved ourselves. And so, we have different series that we play around with, I'll say, because we have fun doing this, right? And then we get feedback from our customers, and we pay attention to what they like. And some things that we put out, we think they're going to like, and maybe they don't like so much. But some of the most successful videos that we do, and they're one of the funnest series, are Rick's Rides,
right?
And then we have a new series called Rolling with Rick, where I get kind of personal and I interview industry people that are very interesting, and I invite them for a very casual, let's go for a ride, and we take a ride and we sit down and we'll have lunch or we'll have some coffee and we'll talk about the industry, and you really get to know that person. No cue cards or let's cover this. Forget. I don't like that stuff.
Did you come up with that, or was that like inspired by comedians in cars?
It's inspired by myself and my guys, and we started looking at other YouTube things and started thinking about and looking at ourselves, saying, we should do something like this. And I'm on a first name basis with all my suppliers, and I have a lot of great friends in the industry. A lot of these people are very interesting to the people that we're taking care of that buy from us. And I may know all these things, but they don't. And to be quite honest, I learned things during these shoots because I found some stuff out on episode 1 that I did. It was with a friend of mine that I didn't even know some of the stuff that he shared with me. And then I knew a lot of the other stuff. And we had nothing but feedback where people said, oh, that was great. Never knew about that. Matter of fact, we had some people, we don't want to make our videos too long, but we had people saying, I wish you made it longer. We wanted to learn more. They were so captivated by this because it was interesting. And it's like the old school way of doing things, which I realized a long time ago. We're in e-commerce, so technically we're a technology-driven company, right? We're not robots. I figured that out from the beginning. Don't be generic. That's why you say, I don't want to just sell things. It's not good enough. People are human. They like, rolling with Rick. They like Rick's Rides. Rick's Rides is something that we take them on all the coolest roads that I like.
Right.
It started off on the West Coast, and then we started going back east. We did Tail of the Dragon, which is down in Kentucky and Tennessee. It's 318 turns and 11 miles.
Wow.
It's the gnarliest road that I've ever ridden. And I know there's some other great roads, but it's one of the best, most legendary roads in the United States. So we did a video on that. People loved it. It was great.
There's probably already a book about great motorcycle rides, but if not, you should.
Oh, sure it is. Yeah. But, I like to go and do these things and take my, all our friends, I don't want to call them customers, all our friends out there on these rides with us. And they enjoy that, and it's just us being us. It's me being me. So, the Rolling with Rick series is great because I really get personal with these people. And I have some very interesting people on the agenda going forward that I know they're going to love. And you get to know them as a person,
So as CEO of the company, how important is it to you, and how much time do you spend just taking some time alone to get inspiration for what to do next?
Well, lately, I have to say I have such a great staff that over the last couple of years, I have more time to myself.
But don't you find that helps you grow your business?
Absolutely. It makes me more creative.
Yep.
And it makes me feel better. I mean, let's face it, I work pretty hard all these years, and my guys work hard every day. But, the first, we've been a company since 1999. That's a long time. It's 2019 right now. So I've worked really hard, and now I'm backing off a little bit, and it makes me creative, and I'm happier. I'm getting to do some of the things that I like to do, and even some of these video series, they weren't possible years ago because I was too busy.
Yeah, that's actually what made me ask the question. I was thinking about the video series and things I've done as CEO in my company, and how the more I can actually get some time to think, ironically, it's sort of like letting your children grow up.
Sure. What I found is in the beginning, I was the gears that powered everything I was doing besides the spokesman and everything else. And then as I, hired on people that were so nice and great, a lot of our staff has been with us 10 plus years, I was able to do more. I was able to back off a little bit and focus. And then we started doing videos. We didn't even get into social media until we could do it right. We had social media built into our site in 1999 when we first built it. And that was before Facebook. It was before everything.
Right.
And the only thing that was around was MySpace, which kind of gave me some creativity. And I was really lucky. You didn't ask this question, but we're there now. I was fortunate that in 1999, when I wanted to build a website, I happened to meet through a friend this young programmer, Dan, who was just out of college. And not only was he out of computer college and software and development stuff, but he was, I think, at the top of his class. He was just incredible at this, and what a nice guy. And he was with me for so many years, and we were able to put this community into the site. And so, and then later social media became like, if you don't have social media, you're never going to be successful. Right. We've been doing that since the beginning because I didn't know how to do it anyway else. Like I said, selling things wasn't good enough, right? And nowadays, what's driving businesses is social media and videos and all this kind of stuff. So I'm happy to say that we had this right, and I didn't even realize it because it was the only way I knew. And I was lucky to kind of fall into that. The future was like that. And when I hear things like this, and this has nothing to do with motorcycles, but when I hear vinyl record sales are right there with digital, right, it makes perfect sense to me because we're not robots.
Sure,
we're
it's a
human.
passionate product.
We like it. We're touching. It's tangible. We're like, I had this album when I was in high school. We like stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So you have to remember, people aren't robots. If you keep that in mind in everything that you do, make people happy. People like that stuff. Be personable. Have compassion. Have passion and compassion.
You kind of infuse humanity through your whole business.
Sure. Help people. So, anyway, by the way, there was a little slogan that we have, and it said, that we started this business to help people find the accessories they need. Because when I started Wing Stuff in 99, there was hardly any place on the internet that you could find a good selection for the bike. And I felt this big need. I didn't realize I was going to do this for the rest of my life, to be quite honest. I did it because I wanted to try to help people, and I felt like this would be a good kind of side thing. And this side thing turned into the main thing very quickly. So initially it was, I didn't realize how big and, how much it was going to be my whole passion moving forward into basically my life. Yeah. And I'm very lucky that I do something that I love,
So one thing that's interesting in this conversation so far is we really haven't mentioned the other dragon at all, Amazon.
Yes.
Do you sell on Amazon at all?
I do not. I never have, and I have no reason to sell.
Now, do your competitors?
Absolutely. A lot of them do. And you know how I feel about that? It's like an online vending machine. There's nothing there. I don't want to sell on Amazon because I don't feel they give my customer what they need. The shopping experience is subpar. Oh, yeah. It's not good enough. I mean, all you get is the product. You can't call anybody. You can't ask for suggestions. You can't say, "Hey, I just hooked it up and the left light works, but that turn signal's not working." Any idea what's going on? Yeah. Did you check the green wire? Right. Is it plugged into the right plug? I mean, people call us, and I tell people we hold hands better than anybody. And guess what? People are needy.
Oh yeah.
Especially in my demographic, right?
Sure.
And we're there to help
trying to make their passion sure. motorcycle just right.
Sure. And as far as price, we're just as competitive as Amazon. Why would you want to buy there? You get nothing except the product.
Well, and good luck building your community online.
Oh, forget
or on Amazon.
I mean, part of your community is having, I don't know, do you know how many reviews you have?
About 24,000 real uncensored reviews.
Yes, you have 24,000 legitimate reviews from your community, and it's hard to even trust Amazon reviews at this point.
Oh, I tell you what, I read some reviews and you could just tell either somebody was paid or somebody put that in there. That has never happened once in our company, ever. All the reviews are real. And if something, we can be candid, right? If something sucks and they don't use bad language, right? We're not going to touch it. We're going to put it up there because we want everybody to know. And most importantly, we want the manufacturer to know. So if one guy says something, don't believe it. Look for consistency. You always have to read more than one review, but that's why the manufacturers watch our site as well as the consumers. So if something doesn't work, I know some companies would just not even publish that. They delete it or you'd never see it. We have never done that. That's not helping anybody.
Now, considering your status in the industry, do you actually do much direct communication with Honda? Like, do you have an open door with them to give them feedback?
I have a lot of good relationships with Honda. We are not affiliated with them at all.
Okay.
But I know that I have a lot of respect from them. I respect them as well. But we're not affiliated with them at all. But we love their motorcycle, and I think they see us as something good for their brand. And we're out there supporting not only their brand, but their efforts and the people that we're giving the people a better experience. We're making this fun for people, and we're getting them all the things that they want. So we're a good element to have in that picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Rich, what else haven't we covered?
Gosh, there's so many things that I want to go down, but I just want to make sure we're kind of closing the loops on a few of these things.
You had mentioned one thing before. You I'll bring this up. You said something about, aren't you kind of limited because I'm only selling gold wing accessories? And that ran by my mind many years ago. And I actually experimented because I'm not afraid to try something. And if it doesn't work, watch how quick I change it.
Right.
Unlike if it was a government thing, right? It would take us 2 years to change. Did I say that?
If you're lucky.
So what I'm saying is, I said, we're doing great with Goldwing, and so maybe we should try something else. And so I launched a few other websites years ago.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that, and I realized quickly that you can only have so much passion. And I said, well, there's a ceiling because I'm only selling to those people. What about all the other motorcycles out there? And once you start spreading yourself thin, which is what people like Amazon do, and even some competitors, they're trying to carry and be everything to everybody, you're diluting yourself. Now you don't stand out, and you truly don't. And not only do you not stand out, but there's not as much there anymore. Now you're not the influencer, you're not the leader in an industry where people are looking up to you for advice. You can't do that if you're doing everything for everybody. And that's a quick way to go out of business. It's almost like I gave an example to him. It's like if I had a Corvette or something, I'd rather go to the guy that's just everything about Corvette, lives and breathes Corvette, instead of I go to the Chevy website and Corvette is just one drop down. There's no comparison. Yeah. But here's the downside, but it's not really a downside because you should be happy about this. You say, but I'm only going to be reaching just those people. Well, you should be happy about that because you can be huge in that one demographic. But people get greedy. They say, well, I'm huge here. I want to be huge over there. And before you know it, every time they move forward and they add a piece, they're diluting themselves.
Totally.
So I totally believe that you can be the best at one thing and stand out and be extremely successful, longevity, like years ahead.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were mentioning in episode 0, where Amazon's pretty much, they made an announcement they're trying to carry everything.
Well, yeah, that brings up a few things. First of all, I'm a big believer in the idea of grow rich in a niche. It's kind of a cliche in the entrepreneurial world, but it's true. And I think you're right. Most people are fearful of it. They fear they're limiting themselves as opposed to seeing how deep of a well they can dig. And then the other thing is, and this is something you guys have heard me say before, most of us aren't going to be this Jeff Bezos. So why sell everything? That's what he does. Mm-hmm. We get to sell the thing we're passionate about.
I don't need to be. I'm happy now.
Totally. Fine. Yeah, I'm assuming you don't go. I'm assuming you do not lose sleep at night over Amazon.
Absolutely don't. I've never even wanted to go on Amazon. I don't have any reason to go on Amazon. And if I did, I don't want my customers to have that kind of an experience. Right. Mm-hmm. It's terrible. And you can't even browse for things. It doesn't work.
God, yeah, their product. That's a whole different conversation. Their product discovery is a mess.
And as far as being competitive, we're just as competitive, if not more competitive.
Right.
There's no reason.
So I want to go down a little bit more into the community aspect, and do they get to know each other too? So do you have it set up to where, obviously when they go on these rides, if you guys get the rides, but sure. Do they say?
Well, the rides are on our Wing Stuff TV channel.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
So do you ever, that's actually was.
Locally, years ago we did, but we don't do too many rides locally. We're addressing a global audience now. Mm-hmm. So things have changed. So we love everybody locally. As a matter of fact, they helped me, get on my feet and start. We were very busy locally when we started wingstuff.com. Right. Even though it's an online company, it was the local community and all the riders locally that really gave me my start because they were very supportive. Mm-hmm. And I never forget them. They're extremely important to me. But I had to change the way I was doing things. There was days where we were advertising in every chapter's newsletter, and a chapter is what they call a club. And there were clubs everywhere. They're all over the world. And what was happening is in California, we were paying for advertising for a full page in about 14 different chapters. And after a while, it wasn't doing anything for me because nobody saw what I was doing everywhere else in the world, only the people that were in those particular areas in those cities of California. So I stopped doing that because it just made sense. And now I'm advertising in the national publication, which actually goes all over the world. Sure. So it's better to spend your money and reach everyone globally than to try to do all these individual local things, which you're tying up all your money. When you add them together, it's not much each, like $75, $100 a year for each one, but it adds up. Sure. And before you know it, it's like you're spending money and you're not reaching everybody. Mm-hmm. So we reach people in certain magazines and on our website. We have a wonderful newsletter that we put out once a week that Matt, that is on our team, puts together. And so we reach most of our customers through our own newsletter. And our newsletter is exciting, it's interesting, and it's not always sales. That's the last thing I do. If you start sending sales after sales and everything you send is a sale, you might as well forget it.
Do you highlight certain customers or use their content?
We like doing stuff like that. We have contests where you send pictures in and you'll win. Like we work with our vendors and we get prizes, first prize, second prize, third prize. And we have, share this on Facebook or share this on Instagram or send us a picture of your bike. So we love having fun like that. Mm-hmm. And they like it too. We had a brand new hat come out and it was the new logo of the new Goldwing, and nobody had that logo. It's a licensed product, through Honda. And we had a contest that if you did something on Facebook, it would, if you shared the post on Facebook, you would get entered to win for this hat.
Right.
Well, I figured, okay, one hat. Well, thousands of entries later for one hat. Everybody's excited about the hat, but we have bigger prizes. We have expensive stuff. Sometimes we give away things that are very expensive. So we love having fun with that stuff, but you can't just do sales, and we don't do that. We mix it up. We send a newsletter with our latest video. It could be Rick's Rides. It could be Rolling with Rick. It might be a new product, and then it might be a sale. And we mix it up. And on the holidays, we have some fun with our YouTube channel. I've been a vampire in the past. We did a takeoff of Young Frankenstein in black and white, and it's like the old fashioned, and you see all the little things in the film, and I come out of the coffin, and it's not cheesy. I know it sounds cheesy. Well, some of it is, but it actually came out very, very good.
There's good cheese.
And some people are like, what does that have to do with selling parts? I said, no, it's just fun. It's people loved it. It was great, so.
Part of why I was asking about them knowing each other though, is it almost has like an alumni college feel to it.
Sure.
And
I could answer your question.
And so the reason, not only that, but it was kind of I'd imagine there's a lot of people that don't just get new parts because something broke. They might just want to try a new look or try this. And so there's got to be people that have perfectly good parts that someone else might want. And if you're the hub, like if you're the college that they're part of, just the alum, you still will benefit, even though you might not. You might have benefited from a new sale, but if they could exchange with, and I'm not trying to get you to change your business.
Right. No. I get what you're saying. So to answer your question, we just updated our website. And we had the functionality that you could contact a member through our contact manager and you would never see their email, nor would they see yours. And that's the only thing we didn't bring over yet. And we plan on putting that in place later. We wanted to get this website launched. It was an extremely difficult project with all the community.
For years.
Yes. And it took quite a long time to get all our features functioning on the new platform. And we did. So that's one of the features that we did not bring over yet that we will. So they were able to contact each other. So, and you can also search a customer, by the way, even currently on the new site, by state, by city, by country. So it's pretty cool. So you can search all these different ways. You can search wish lists. If they make them public, they have the ability to make them private as well. But so to answer your question, without that, everybody seems to know each other just because there's a lot of people that do reviews, and these guys are on the site every day watching and looking and posting. So they get to know all the names, right? All the guys that participate, they kind of know each other, right? And with the old mechanism, they could actually talk to each other. Now, if you want to share your email, that's up to you to do. You can put it in your text body, but you never can see the other person's email. So if you decide I'm going to blow this off, I don't want to answer them, you could do that, right? So that's one feature we're going to put back into the site later. That's the only thing that we didn't bring over. We were able to get everything else working, which was great. And it was not easy, but it's working great.
And I would assume, anytime you change a website, there's some some pain and change.
Oh yeah.
I would assume your customers trusted you through it because they trust your staff.
They did, and that's another thing, confidence, but you're right. So the first day or two, orders were way down, but the traffic was like through the roof. It was like unbelievable. Like I've never seen so much traffic in my life because everybody was just trolling the site, right? They were all over it because it was new. And I think it was a shock for them because, the site has been, I won't say the same since 99 because we've done, updates and we've done makeovers and stuff, but this was a truly big jump forward. And so the first couple of days, orders were down, traffic was through the roof. And then 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days later, it just continued to start coming back up. It took about a full 2 weeks to get back to normal, which I'm very fortunate, because that was a big shock. And now we're seeing an uptick.
And I can say from where we sit at Miva, we see that a lot. Yeah. It's a very, very common thing.
Yeah.
Traffic's up, sales drop, and then they get back, and then they start.
There were some people saying, be careful. I've seen companies go out of business, change your websites. And I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. But it is a big, big change. It's a big shock, But it went, I think, really smoothly. And when I look at it, as long as I understand, I don't worry. And it just made sense. Yeah. Everybody gets to this new store. You go to the new mall. What do you want to do? You want to go and check out every store in the mall. Well, they get to the site and it's like, whoa, what is this? And it was like their own home because we had one little glitch and we fixed it really quick. The wish list that we brought over from the old site, some of them didn't populate properly.
Okay.
Oh boy. I mean, the emails are just going off. People are going crazy. And I took it the opposite. I said, how thankful I am to have such customers / friends out there that this was so important to them that they want to come out and they just want to shake me, And I said, we need to fix this. And we did. We went back and it wasn't easy, but we went back and we had to re-export everything and we fixed it. But to see that, it was a positive for me. It was like these people, they count, this site is so important to them. And that wish list is something that they've been cultivating probably for a long time. I talked to a few people on the phone. I personally call people. I'm reachable.
Yep.
And I called, there was a couple of people who were upset and I called them personally and I said, thank you for your email. I said, you don't know how much I appreciate your email. Instead of being defensive, I want to hug them. Mm-hmm. They let me know there was a problem. And I said, we need to fix this.
Yeah, of course.
It was a no-brainer.
If they're upset, that means they care.
Sure. And now they love it because the new wish list, you can have multiples and they're it's customizable. You can put notes. You can make them private. I mean, this new wish list system is just phenomenal, right? So now they're all happy. But that was a good indicator for me. I said, I messed with their house.
Well, it also shows how loyal they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've never done pay to click.
Really?
No.
Not one.
No. Is all your advertising print and email or?
Mainly newsletter driven.
Okay.
And organically, we're very strong in SEO.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
You've got a strong domain authority, I'm sure.
So we do reach people through magazines. We also sponsor some forums out there. Social media has been strong. A little bit of a shift from forums to social media that I've seen. Forums were social media before. Yep. We certainly still support them, but there's been a shift, and I would say social media is far more important now. But we're still on those forums too. So we definitely get out there, and our newsletter is the best vehicle, because that's what it is, a vehicle to get to our customers. So if there's a new product and we're excited about it and we want everybody to know, the next morning, everybody knows. Mm-hmm. And our unsubscribe rate, by the way, and I'm very happy to say this, is like almost non-existent.
And how's your open rate? I'm assuming it's
great,
high.
strong,
Yeah.
super strong.
Those are two great indicators.
Because they look forward to getting it. And the thing is, I'll never send them something that's boring. And if it's a sale, it's a good sale. I'm not going to send you something that's stupid. You start sending stuff people don't like, and if you start sending every newsletter is a sale, you're going to get unsubscribes. We don't do that.
So many big companies. I mean, Williams-Sonoma, I like a lot of their products and their brands.
You get tired of it. It's
God, I get like 20 total emails a day if you count all 5 brands, and it's the same crap.
And you know, how lucky am I that people want to subscribe to our site. And by the way, since we went live, we've had so many signups. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You said your community's been growing like fire.
Blowing up.
So are you doing a lot of reviews of new products too with your video team? And
Oh, absolutely. Lately, we've been getting into the non-product stuff a little bit more, to be quite honest, but the reviews are very important. But we didn't want to focus too much on that, although people like to know my opinions on things. I I'm a pretty good authority. I don't think I know everything, right? So there's other people out there that know stuff like I do. But people value my opinions on stuff, and they know I'm honest.
Right.
And I certainly would never give them BS. I would never try to say a product is better than it is. If I don't like it, I won't even do a review on it. As a matter of fact, one of the things about my company is if there's a product that we don't like and we feel is subpar, you won't be able to buy it on our site. We won't sell it. We refuse to. There were some products that were, there was a lot of copy and counterfeit stuff, which is another problem on marketplaces like Amazon.
Yep.
You don't know how much counterfeit stuff is out there. When they buy it from us, they know it's real.
Yeah, I mean, and it's almost impossible to stop because of fulfillment by Amazon. So they mix products.
So we did one thing. We actually ordered some of those products just so we could get our hands on them. And it was absolute junk, garbage. And so counterfeiting is a big problem. And you can buy with confidence. And that word confidence is, people know who we are. And actually, when the developers were first building the new platform, we were importing all our customers from the old site. Something went wrong, and we realized it pretty quick because our phones were lighting up, and everybody's like, I got this email that says I'm registered on wingstuff.com. And I'm like, what's going on? And then we realized that when we were doing the import, we accidentally had the email notification activated that tells them, thanks for registering, right? And so everybody's, what's going on, right? So we stopped it. And, luckily it didn't go to that many people, but I personally emailed every one of the people that got an email. I did.
Yep.
And it took time. Every one of them. Do you know, in 2 days, it was done. Then nobody questioned. Everybody was fine. It's like, oh, okay, thanks, Rick. Because they know who I am. So it's almost like I had to buy a camera 5 or 6 years ago. And I went online just to see what I could find. And there was all these different websites. And I started calling them. You want to talk about snaky people.
Yeah, camera sales websites are horrible.
I was afraid to use my credit card. I'll be quite honest. Nobody ever is afraid to use a credit card with us. They know who we are. They're part of our family, right? That's Rick's company, right? And so I was like, there's no way. I was getting BS. That one camera was less than the other company, and turns out they took some stuff out of the package. They said you still need to buy this, and I'm like, it's supposed to come with the camera. That's the game that they were playing. They were taking stuff out, even GPS. You have mounts that come with it. Take the mount out. They sell the GPS less, and then you need the mount. It's like, oh my God, it was a snake pit. And then I looked at myself as a company, and I said, thank God for companies like us, right? That you never have to worry. You'll never get hurt with us.
Yeah, it sounds like you basically strive to treat your customers the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely. And been doing this since the dealership days, right? How do you do it on the web? Not easy.
No, it does take a lot of creative thought, but I mean, I can't imagine a better business philosophy.
Absolutely. And the one thing I will say with that said, you have to have a mindset, not only you as an owner, but your staff, a mindset of always trying to improve. Always trying to give a better experience, because what's the best experience today, there might be something better tomorrow. So I was not afraid to update the site. I wasn't afraid to throw some other features out there. Our community was always on the other site, but this time we put it on stage on the homepage. We put Wingstuff TV on the homepage because these are our strengths. These are the things that we wanted to bring to stage and present to people. Like, this is who we are. Yep. We don't just sell stuff. This is where everybody comes, and I would too. If I wasn't who I was, I would shop with Wingstuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what makes it sticky. That's why people want to go there.
Yeah, I could talk to you all day, but I want to make sure before we're
I'm going to be tired if you talk to me all day. You're going to have to buy me some
with
lunch.
I should say, because I want to hear your story. But specifically, if someone's interested in learning more about you, like we want to give you some love too. You took your time to come down here and film with us. Like where should people go to learn more about you?
Well, the best thing they can do is go to wingstuff.com. If you have a Honda Goldwing motorcycle, I think you're going to really enjoy doing business with us, because we do it the old-fashioned way in a new world. Mm-hmm. And I want to continue to do business that way. And I was very fortunate that I grew up in a very loving family. I have a 91-year-old Uncle Frank, and we have a couple of cameras that focus on him in the living room every day because he's home alone during the day, but he can walk. And this is just the roots that I came from, and I'm very appreciative that I came from that. And And when I started working even the Honda shop, like I said, I went home, I didn't get the job, and then I had the job, and it was like, wow. And it's just about attitude, isn't it? And you really don't fake caring. If you truly care and you be who you are, if you start faking, people see through that.
Oh yeah, that is the beginning of the fall of your empire at that point.
Sure. Yeah. But I will tell you that trying to bring the way I've always done business, I didn't even know I was dragonproofing myself.
Right.
This is the only way I know how to do business. And then in the modern world, when you have companies like Amazon that come into the space and everybody's freaked out and worried about it, I never wanted to go on Amazon because there's no reason. It's like I would never want to buy on there.
Sure.
Like that, I don't want to give my customers that kind of an experience. It's awful. So they can't do what we do. But I'm lucky that I have a product that I can say that about, right?
I do think it's important to have a product that you can
get passionate about. I mentioned
having a cult like products.
Right. It's not like soap, but then there are some people out there that are passionate about soap. Right. So this is the new age now. So I won't say that.
As you say, go to a farmer market in a California town, and you'll find some soap fanatic.
But I'll tell you what, you know what? This comes from the heart. There's nothing more fun than riding motorcycles.
Right.
It is the ultimate freedom trip, and going to work turns into fun. And you get your wife, girlfriend on the back, or you go solo, doesn't matter, and you go on a trip for a few days with the guys. It's going to change your life. Mm-hmm. And I love it. I'm glad I got into it when I was a kid. We're going to talk about Uncle Frank for just 1 minute, because if it wasn't for Uncle Frank, I wouldn't be here right now. Let me tell you what happened. So Uncle Frank used to pick me up every Saturday, and he used to take me to the car dealers, because Uncle Frank used to like to buy cars every year. And that was his thing. He loved cars, right? So we used to go visit the Honda motorcycles because he knows I want a motorcycle. And I was 14 at the time, and all my friends had them. My mother wouldn't let me have them, and my mom is his sister. So we get to the Honda shop this one time. I sit on that same XR75. It was in 1974. And I sit on this bike, and then all of a sudden he says, "Do you want that bike?" And I looked at him, and I didn't know if he was kidding. And I said, "Of course. Why? Are you going to buy it?" And he says, "How much is that bike?" And now all of a sudden I'm like, wow. Right. Because I've been in the shop so many times, and I've sat on the same bike. That's the bike I wanted. He knew what bike I wanted.
About this bike.
Yeah. And it was $599 in that day. I still remember the price. And before you know it, we're in the office, and I'm, "Uncle Frank, what about my mom?" He's like, "Don't worry, I'll take care of your mom." I'm like, "Yeah, Uncle Frank, go." So I get home. My dad was super cool. He didn't care. He wanted me to have the bike, but he didn't want to get in a fight with my mom. So my mom rules. Trust me, guys, the women rule, right? You want to buy a house, make sure the kitchen looks good. But anyway,
don't pick it without her.
Right. I go to the garage, the wives go to the kitchen. But anyway, so he bought that bike. We got home, and I didn't say a word. And he said, Val, my mother's name was Val. And he says, "Val, I bought him that bike that he always wanted." And she was just about to light him up. Right. And he says, "Now just stop." He goes, "Now let him be a kid. He's a good kid. He's responsible. All his friends have him. Now just be quiet. Let him have the bike." Not a word was discussed after that. Go Uncle Frank. Had to give Uncle Frank a plug.
Congrats to Uncle Frank.
Yeah, and he's still there. And I go see him at least 3 or 4 times a year. And like I said, I call him every single day. There's not a day that goes by. So we're babying him. He took care of us, and now we're taking care of him. Again, it's just that whole, this is how we do business. It's the same thing. Yeah. How do you bring this to the web, We were able to do that, and I didn't do it on purpose. So if anybody's watching this, and I'm glad you invited me, because I was happy to talk about this stuff, because I don't know any other way. And as time went by, it's like, yeah, we have this right. I started realizing that, but I don't know any other way to do business. So it was funny when I read your book, and I'm not done with it, I'll admit, that's okay. I think I'm 20 something pages in. I realized, I was excited to come here today. I said, because I'd love to talk about it, because we've been proofing ourselves from the beginning, and we never knew it, because it's the only way that we know.
Right.
So there you have it.
Well, and I've had the pleasure of knowing you for 5 years now?
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, so talking business with you has always been a pleasure.
Sure.
And so when we started talking about who we're going to have as a guest on the podcast, you were at the very top of the list.
Well, I appreciate that. I was really surprised when I received the email from you, and I said, yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be great. And you and I mean, we actually have a lot of the same outlook on things and stuff. And I love your book, Dragonproofing, because I think it's something that everybody should read. And don't fear the dragon. The dragon needs to fear you.
That is the core message of the book. You do not need to fear the dragon.
Absolutely.
There is plenty of opportunity out there.
But I will say that you need to have the right products. And
there's a lot of tactical stuff that has to go right.
And another thing too is it's a recipe. It's almost like cooking. There's not one thing that I can say that made us successful or could make somebody else successful. It's like cooking. You got to get all the ingredients, staff, beautiful website, easy navigation, beautiful pictures, easy checkout, friendly people on the phone that love what you want to talk about. It's all of it. It's not just me, guys, right?
Luckily, it's more like cooking than baking, though, because baking's pretty unforgiving.
You can screw up baking real bad.
You can screw it up pretty bad. You can make adjustments on the fly with cooking.
Right.
A little more salt, a little more this. But
well, if you're a good cook, we get a lot in common because I don't cook, but I love to eat. Okay.
Well, pretty good, but I like eating more than cooking. I want to thank you personally just for bringing you. It's very obvious. Talk about the not faking it. It's very, very obvious that this is you 24/7/365.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I had fun today, I have to say, and this isn't work. This is who we are. This is who I am, and I enjoyed this because it's the real deal. It's just us being genuine, and trying to get a message out that Rick's trying to get out, and I support him in this. I think that small business years ago, I started seeing what was happening, and especially with companies like Amazon, and I said, wow, I was very concerned as a human being. I said, what's happening in the world? It's like, independent business, entrepreneurship is becoming extinct with everything that's happening. But then if you just step back and take another look at it and look into yourself, it really isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be afraid.
I can't sum it up better than that, so I'll just say yes, exactly.
Absolutely. That's what I've learned. Absolutely. It's as good as it's ever been.
There's more opportunity today.
There's so much opportunity out there. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I think that's probably the end. Richie, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for tuning in again to another episode of Dragonproof e-commerce. And until next time, make sure you're building through community, compassion, and passion, just like Rick has, but in your own way, for your own products and your own community. Until next time, keep yourself dragon-proof.
Bye, everybody.